You're probably going through a situation right now where you wanted to achieve certain things, but it's completely backfired. Things that you thought you were going to get, things that you had planned and worked for, but it completely backfired. It's gone in thin air. Are you going through something like that? It could be in all aspects of life. It could be a relationship where you saw the other person as someone who you can see a long-term relationship with, someone you could build a stable family, but you guys broke up and now you're separate. It could be you wanted to achieve certain grades, but you didn't get the grades. It could be from, I wanted to get into these universities, I applied, but I didn't get a place on results day. I prepared for this job, the interview and the preparation and everything, but in the end they said they didn't want me. We all go through this, and you're probably going through this as well. And what I want to share in this video is basically give you some practical steps on how to deal when things don't go your way. This is not theoretical. This is something that could be applied to any aspects of your life through relationships, grades, studies, education, whatever. But the principles stay the same. And I hope that after the end of this video, you can go and apply this for yourself in your life, and you don't have to feel this pressure, this sense of failure, this sense of you are nothing, because you are something. You have something in you. You have a gift. You have a unique gift that you still have not figured out yet, and that is okay because you are on your discovery. You are on the journey of discovery for yourself. You are still trying to figure yourself out. Don't let anyone else or anything else bring you down just because it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out. And funnily enough, this video as well is for me because I'm also going through things, and I feel that even watching this, not to be arrogant, but it's something that I can look back on and also use this for myself because I think it could be very helpful. So let's get straight into the first step. Whatever situation that you're in right now, whether it's you didn't get into university, you didn't get the job, your relationship has, broken off, you have to ask yourself this: what is the worst case scenario that can happen from this situation? Have you actually thought about that yourself? Like, take a step back and write it down. What is the worst case scenario that can happen from this situation? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because if you're able to be comfortable with the worst case scenario, that is already 80% of pressure and stress and anxiety gone down. Worst case scenario, most of the time, is something that you'll be able to cope with. Worst case scenario is not as bad as you think it will be, unless it's a life and death situation. The reason why we feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't get into the university, I didn't get a job, my relationship is gone, and we feel so much pressure, so much anxiety, so much anger, frustration, all those feelings is because we are looking at what other people around us are doing and telling us. We're looking at what society is saying. And those feeling of failure, those feeling you're not good enough comes from that. But if you cut all of those people out, cut all that noise out, and you look at, okay, what is the worst case scenario from this? Okay, I didn't get into university. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, I could do something else. I can go into another university, or I can reapply again. Is that really as bad as you think it is? Is that really like a bad situation? It's only a bad situation if you compare yourself with other people around you. Because what you're going to do, your mind is going to go, but this person is going to be 2 years ahead of me. This person is already 1 year ahead of me and I'm 1 year down. That's what makes it bad. But if you take all of those people out, because remember, those people are not going to be in your life. They're not going to be going on your journey. If you take all those people out, would you be okay with the worst case scenario? Forget about what anyone else says. Just cut them out and ask yourself that. Okay, I don't care what anyone else says. My worst case scenario, I didn't get a job. What's my worst case scenario? Okay, well, I'll apply again. It's a rejection, fine, but I'll apply again and I'll learn from it. Is that bad? Are you going to die from it? You see, I know this might sound harsh, right? And it's going to be harsh as I'm going to go through these things, but it's something that's going to get you to think. And I want these videos to make you think, not just kind of for entertainment purposes. I hope I'm not in an entertainment aspect. It's more of how do you think when things happen like this? How do you cope with it? If you're able to be comfortable with the worst case scenario, that's literally 70-80% of the battle done. Because now your emotions have gone down because you are accepting, okay, this is the worst case scenario. It's not that bad. It's actually okay. It's not as bad as I thought it's going to be. So that's what I would say to you. First, write down what's the worst case scenario in the situation that you're going through. Like, think about that. Make it as bad as it seems. Obviously, it's not a life and death situation, but try and make it as if it's like, okay, this is the worst of the worst that can be. And then just leave it there. And then come back again the next day and read it again and come back again the next day and see how you feel. Most of the time, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. The reason why you feel it's bad is because you are in an emotional state. Your emotions are very high. So you will think like, oh my gosh, my life is over. But once those emotions have gone down, you'll see the worst case scenario is not as bad. The second question you have to ask yourself is, was this situation in my control or out of my control? Let me explain. Let's say the situation was in your control. Okay. If this situation was in your control, you have to ask, did I do everything I can to make sure that I can get the best result, the best output from this? Be honest with yourself. Don't lie. Did you do everything you can for this situation? Did you revise as much as you can? Did you prepare for that job as much as you can? Know about the company, look at its history, understand the interview techniques, the question. Did you go really, really deep? Did you commit and put a lot of effort in your relationship? Did you give a lot for that relationship? Not you're giving a lot to the person, but for the relationship. Careful. Were you committed? Was the effort consistent? Because those things are in your control. Now, if you fell short of those things and you realize, okay, I could have done more. Now that's on you. That is on you. That's your responsibility, because that's something that you could have control over, or you had control over. But remember, I'm not trying to have a go at you. Okay? Remember, we're trying to be rational here. I'm just trying to break this down. It's going to hurt, but it's the reality. Now, if these were things that were in your control and you did not do what you had to do and you could have done more, then this is information. It's like, okay, cool. Write this down. I could have done more. Okay, what could I have done more? Could I have been more committed? Could I have put more effort? Could I have put more time? This is valuable information. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. I know. But you have to write this down, because don't keep everything in your brain. Your brain is too much. It's your brain. Sometimes you can't trust your brain, man. Don't trust your brain every single time. Your brain sometimes is lying to you. And I'll make a separate video on that. But your brain is lying to you. So when you're able to get this information, okay, I could have done more. But write this down. What could you have done more? How could you have done more? This is very important, because these are things that were in your control, but you fell short. So there's obviously an improvement. There's growth that could happen there. Do you see that? There's growth, because it's like, okay, I fell short, but okay, hold up. If I was to do this, okay, maybe the outcome would be a lot more different. Fantastic, great. Let me write this information down. Let me write it down so I make sure that next time when there's something like this similar happens, I'm not going to make the same mistake. This is how you think. This is how you process. So this is something in your control. Fine. Now, what happens if it was in your control and you did everything you can and you still did not get the outcome? You might ask. Then there's nothing wrong with that. You've done everything you can. Well done. Respect to you. What more could you do? You have to accept, I've given it 100%, 110% even, and the outcome didn't come the way I thought it was going to come. That's great. That's fine. There's nothing you can do. Listen, I've done things in my life where I've given 150%. It wasn't even in relationships. It was even in when I was applying for jobs. I give everything and I still didn't get it. But you know what was the beauty of it in the end? It was that at least I know, or I knew, I gave everything I can. So I didn't have any regret. I did not have any regret, because in that situation, I gave it my all. And okay, maybe I was just not good enough. That's fine. But I know I gave it my all. That's fine. I can't win at you can't, like, if you think you're going to try and win in everything in life, you're delusional. You're not going to win in every aspect of life. That's okay. But that's all about, that's you experimenting. That's you realizing, like, you're hitting all these different, how do I say, you're hitting all these different obstacles, right? If you like. And you can see in certain ones when you've given your 110%, it didn't work. That's okay. That's not a problem. Because you know in your heart of your heart, you've given it everything. It's because the parameters that were in your control, you control them and you give everything. Great. No one can say shit to you, man. And sometimes you just have to accept the other person is better than me. But that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're better than you in everything. That's the problem with society, isn't it? Like, the way things are, it's like, oh, this guy has got all the grades, or this guy's in top university, this guy's got the top job, this guy's got the cars and the mansion. That means we think in ourselves, oh, they're better than us. No, it's not. And I said this in one of my previous videos. It's our self-concept. You have a gift. As I said, you have a gift. You have a unique gift that you haven't discovered yet. That's all. You're on this journey of self-exploration, self-discovery. and you need to find that gift. But for you to find that gift, you have to go through these friction, obstacles, these things that don't go as planned. Because what it will do is it will morph you and it will change you into going to different paths that will allow you to get closer to your gift. If you are willing to be open-minded, if you're willing to be humble. There's nothing wrong with you giving your 110% and still not getting it. It hurts. I get it. It hurts, man. Freaking heck, it hurts. I understand that. Because I know when I've given my effort, my everything, my soul, everything to it, and it didn't go the way it went, it hurts. It hurts deep. But you will know at the end, you've given it everything. So you're not the one that's going to be in regret. You can move forward with your life with no regrets. That's the most important thing. Now, so that's the control aspect, right? Cool. If something was out of your control now, and you've given it everything, but it was out of your control, there was nothing you could do, there's nothing you can do. That is not your fault. When something is not in your control, and to be fair, 98% of the things is not going to be in our control in life. 98% of the things in our life is not in our control. We have very few things that's in our control. And I always say this, what you feed your mind and what you feed your stomach and how you react, you have control over that. And if you're able to do those things correctly, a lot of the other things will just blossom. So you have to understand that you're living in a world where a lot of things is not in your control. But don't beat yourself down when you've done everything you can, and because something else outside of your control, something else or someone else did something, now it didn't work for you. That's not your fault. It's like even in a relationship. For example, you give everything to that person. You're committed, you're consistent, you give effort, you give love, everything. But the other person is not reciprocating the same way as you're doing. You can't control the other person's emotions. You can't control the other person's actions. There's nothing you can do. But at least you know that you've given it everything. So you're not going to have that regret. You see the pattern there, right? Even if something is outside your control, it could be that girl, that boy, that guy, whatever, that man, right? If that person is not doing in the relationship, if not giving as much as you are giving in the relationship, and they're not putting the effort, whose fault is that? Is it yours? And can you even control that person? Because if you start controlling that person, it's not meaningful. The relationship is not meaningful. It's not authentic. It's not genuine. It has to come together. I'm just using relationship as an example, of course, here. Right? You can't control another person. You can't control them. That's fine. There's nothing you can do. That's not on your fault. That's not on you. Universities. Okay, let's say, for example, you got 3 A stars and you didn't get into the universities. Was that out of you got the grades. You got the grades, but they rejected you still. Was that something in your control? No. What were they asking? 3 A stars. Did you get the 3 A stars or whatever the grades was, right? For the universities. Yes, I got the grades. Okay, then they still reject you. Whose fault is that? You got the grades. So these are the things that are outside of our control and there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is focus on the things that you can control. And the things that you can control could be very, very powerful if you do this right. Third step that you want to do is look at exactly what went wrong. A lot of us, when things go bad, we are so emotional that we can't even think about what went wrong and why it went wrong. We're all in our emotional. We're not even able to think rationally. If it means that you have to take a couple of days off, take a couple of days off so that you can start kind of thinking rationally when you come back. And when you come back, look at it. Okay, what went wrong? What did I do wrong? What was it that I missed? Was it a missing puzzle that I missed? Because this is so important so that when something like this happens next time, you know exactly what to do. You're not going to make that same mistake again. So you need to be able to write things down. Okay, where did I go wrong? If it was the grades, for example, could I have studied more? Did I study a lot? Did I study the right content? Did I study the right way? If it was a relationship, was I committed? Was I giving consistent effort? Was I actually doing things that I said I was going to do? You've got to write those things down. If it was a job, why did they not accept me? Get feedback from them. They'll give you feedback. Use that as information. Use that as fuel that you can use for the next one. Another thing I would add to this is also when things go right, when things are going well for you, look at why it's going well for you. Write it down. What is it that I'm doing that's working? That's also important that people don't share or talk about, right? They only look at the failures. Cool. But also when things are going right, you need to look at, okay, I'm obviously doing something right. So what is it that I'm doing right? Because I can keep doing that. You want that as well. That's important. And if you're able to do that from the failures, I wouldn't even look at failures, but the things that didn't go according to plan and the things that are going well and being able to retract that information and write it down, you have a plethora of information. Those are gems. And this is where, you see, right? You can't compare yourself with other people here because this is your own journey. This is your own path. So these gems is for you specifically. It doesn't apply for other people because those other people are not on your path. This is why I would say don't compare yourself with other people. Just look at your journey and look at your path. The fourth step is if you have emotions, anger, frustrations, anxiety, all these kind of feelings, let it out, man. Vent it out. Vent it out to your friend because it's not healthy for you to keep everything inside because you are going to explode. There's no macho man or, oh, look, I'm a hard guy by trying to keep your emotions inside. No way, man. Because eventually you are going to explode. The human brain and the human emotion, there's only so much as humans we can take. Eventually you got to let that poison out. So if you have to let it out, it could be from your parents, family, friends, whoever, let that shit out, man. They'll listen to you. I do this a lot because I know I can't move forward if I'm still thinking about these things inside me and it's all there. I can't move forward. So I have to let that out. It could just even mean shouting to the other person, but it's not shouting at my friend. It's shouting at the situation and just being angry, and he'll just listen. They'll listen. And once you've let it out, you feel better, like you feel more relieved. It doesn't solve the situation. It doesn't solve the problem. But what it does is it allows your emotions to come down, which means then you can move on and take the next step. So if you are feeling those emotions, let it out. Don't keep it inside you because it's very dangerous. With this journey that you're on, all these things that you're coming across, see it as a speed bump on the road. You know the speed bumps on the road? See these as just speed bumps, as obstacles. Because you are going to get obstacles. If you're thinking that you're going to go through this life without any obstacles, any challenges, I always say this, you're delusional. You're living in cuckoo land. It doesn't work that way. Life does not work that way. The reality of life is you are always going to have challenges. You are always going to have obstacles from all angles, all different types of dimensions. And the best way to deal with it is finding a way of adapting to change. It's extremely important that you're able to adapt to change. There was a quote from Charles Darwin that was paraphrased where he was saying, it's not the most strongest species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's able to adapt to change. Let that sink in for you. It's not the most intelligent, not the strongest that survives. It's the one that's able to adapt to change. And if you're able to adapt to change when these obstacles come, and you're looking at these obstacles for what it is, just an obstacle, and you're changing and you're adapting, my gosh, you're going to go a long way. If you're able to see these obstacles as, okay, there's something I can learn here. There's something I can learn from this obstacle. Then that mindset is going to get you very far. A lot of us feel like when we see obstacles like, oh my gosh, it's too hard. I'm a failure. This is too difficult. Yeah, of course you're going to be like that if you think like that. But if you're able to look at it like, this is a learning opportunity for me. This obstacle is a learning opportunity for me where I can see maybe I'm short in here, and I can improve these. Fantastic. Thank you, obstacle. Thank you, failure. Because what you've made me is you made me a better person. You made me a stronger person. You've made me a person that's now adapted to what you've just given me, and I've become stronger because of that. I hope you can see that. I hope you can see that kind of mindset. This is how you're able to become better and grow into something more as a person from all different angles. The next one I would say is give yourself some time off. This is one of the most important things that you could do for yourself, just so that you could be mentally at peace. Like, people will say, oh no, you gotta keep working at it. No, it's bullshit. If you are mentally drained, angry, frustrated, and emotions are high because you did not get what you wanted, you did not achieve what you wanted, or you got rejected, do you think by just carrying on and going forward is going to help? Maybe some people can do that. But for most people, you need to take a step back. Take a step back, take a couple of days off, let the emotions sink down a bit. Because when you're able to get the emotions down, you're then able to think rationally. And for me, that's helped a lot. Sometimes when a lot of shit is happening and I feel so overwhelmed because I'm doing so many things, I'm doing a lot of things. If I take at least 1 or 2 days off, which I don't do as much and I should do more, so this is good for me as well. And I take 1 or 2 days off and I don't do anything. I literally do nothing. I'm being lazy. And lazy in the sense that, it could be watching a series, whatever. But I'm doing this because I'll be able to, it's like taking 3 steps back so that I can go 6 steps forward. That's being strategic. It's not just being lazy for the sake of being lazy. It's I need this being lazy or just to try and get myself back in peace so I can move forward after. So take some time off for yourself. That will help you. If you take some time off and be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let my emotions go down. When you come back after 2, 3, 4 days, whatever it is, you'll feel more refreshed. You'll have a different perspective in how you're going to move forward with the situation that you're facing. It's a lot better, and I guarantee you, like, you will feel much more refreshed, you'll feel more at peace, and you're not going to feel as, the emotions are not going to hit you as hard, because now you're coming from a relaxed state. You've just taken a couple of days off from something that's happened, and now you're able to look at this more objectively for what it is. One thing you can do when you're going through this is to try and process your thoughts. So what I mean by this is, when you're going through these emotions, write it down how you're feeling. Like, literally write it down. It could be even a journal if you want. Write it down. Today I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling shit. Why are you feeling shit? Write it down. Be as raw as you can. Because sometimes, actually most of the times, when you're able to, how do I say it, transfer what's in your brain onto a piece of paper, that is also a way of reducing the pressure, reducing the stress, because you feel a bit like this, a bit of a sigh of relief, because you just kind of dumped all these emotions from your brain onto here. So journal it, or if you can't be bothered to write, just record yourself on your phone or something. Record yourself on how you're feeling and let it out. Imagine you're talking to someone else. I do this a lot, man. I mean, I don't record myself, but I just talk a lot out to myself, because it's a way of me coping with the things I'm going through. So I have to let it out. I'm constantly talking to myself, constantly. And as I'm talking, I'm analyzing as well. I'm just kind of, taking it out and putting it out there, but I'm also analyzing, and it helps me to think more rationally. You could journal, you can record yourself, whatever works for you, but that will help you to process your thoughts. And it's a great way of just kind of taking everything from your brain into here, and you feel more relaxed after. So I hope you're able to take value from this video and you're able to apply this in your life. And remember this, whatever situation you're going through right now, it's not as bad as you think it is. You are on your own journey. You are on your own path, okay? You are on your own self-discovery. And for you to be able to find yourself as a person, you have to go through these challenges. You have to go through these obstacles. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're able to learn from the situation and you make sure that you don't make that same mistake again. Listen, you are always going to keep going up. As I always say, everything starts from zero. When are you going to start? Peace.